right, so to do something cool, we have a little bit of stuff to get. You got to be honorary Martians. You got to know about Mars, right? All right, it's a fourth planet. Have we ever sent people anywhere? You guys, in your lifetime, are going to see the first footprints on another planet, and that will be Mars. You're going to see the very first time humans try to do the hardest thing anyone alive or in past in history has ever tried to do, and that's to go someplace that's going to be about a 300 million mile journey. We already have the plan figured out for astronauts to blast off, land on the planet, live there for over a year, and then be close enough to Earth to come back. That plan is already figured out. In your lifetime, you will see the hardest thing that humankind has ever tried to do, and that's to send people to the next place. Mount Everest is what we think about as being our tallest mountain. So on Mars, again, Mars is how much bigger or smaller than Earth? Half the size. Okay, so on Mars, littler planet, we have a volcano on Mars that's actually 80,000 feet tall. So think about that. I mean, we have a 30,000 foot tall mountain here that it's hard to even get to the top. We have an 80,000 foot tall volcano on Mars on a planet that's only half the size. Just to give you an idea, the state I come from, Arizona, actually if you were to put that volcano here on Earth, it would take up the whole state. Now it's not as big as Texas, but Arizona is a pretty big state. And so think about it, one mountain, one volcano the size of a large state here in our planet. Okay, the Grand Canyon on Earth, when you think about a big canyon, how many of you have ever had a chance to go to the Grand Canyon? Anybody? A few people? Okay, it was a pretty big crack in the ground, isn't it? You get there and you look over and you can see the Colorado River. If you lean over the rail and look, and you can see all kinds of layers of rocks. Well, just so happens, again, half the planet size of Earth, we have a canyon that's the biggest in the solar system, not just on Mars, but in the solar system, called Valles Marineris. If you were to put that on Earth, again, the size, Grand Canyon would be a tiny little spur off of that, about halfway through, just a tiny little piece. This one's 3,000 miles long. You could go from San Francisco all the way over to Washington, D.C. in one canyon. And if you were brave enough, those of you that have been to the canyon or have been to any place where you've looked over the side of anything, and you were to look down, of course there aren't any rails yet, because it's not a national park yet on Mars. But if you were brave enough and you were actually get up to the edge and look down, you'd be looking down 20,000 feet to the bottom. In fact, you could stand on one side of that canyon, right there at its widest point. You could stand on one side of the canyon and you'd look across to the other side of the rim. How many of you have ever been over to the ocean? Down over here, South Padre Island, that area. Okay? When you stood on the side of that ocean, could you see the continents on the other side of the ocean? No. Well, that's kind of the way it would be with this place. If you stood on that part over there that's wide in that canyon and you looked across to the other side, Mars is so small that it would curve just like our ocean does. You wouldn't see the other side of the canyon. In fact, we've had landing sites that have been places that scientists have wanted to land. And we got down to the final four as far as choosing a landing site where we were going to go, and we were wanting to land one of our rovers in the canyon. And on the final four, it finally got voted out because the engineers said there was too much wind going down that canyon, and if we're coming in with our big parachutes, that it might get blown off course and hit the canyon wall. So we're still hoping, as we get better at aiming and landing in a smaller footprint, we might be able to actually get a rover at the bottom of that canyon someday.